I 29 male just found out wife 28 female is being paid to sturb on Zoom by one of her fitness clients. She's begging me to forgive her and she made a huge mistake. I'm so lost. So before 7 a.m. this morning I thought I had a perfect life. I have a gorgeous, intelligent, hard-working wife, a beautiful 1-year-old daughter. We have all been so lucky and the last year forced us to reprioritize and I thought we were better off for it. My wife got laid off from her corporate job last year and she started off just doing very low quality home workouts on YouTube which started to get a slow following. A nationwide gym chain took notice and got in touch to ask if she'd like to host some online classes for them. She said yes, and before we knew it, with the combination of YouTube and the gym, she was making 75% of her corporate salary, working 15 hours a week and basically being a som, what she's always wanted to do. Her being able to focus on our daughter meant I could accept a more challenging position at work, and overnight my salary nearly doubled and we were doing awesome. Last month I decided to finally get started on our taxes and noticed that she had about $3,000 in PayPal payments that didn't have any notes or anything. I asked her what that was about and she said the gym was trying out a new payment system and she was part of the beta test. I said no matter what we needed pay stubs for taxes. She said she would see how they meant to handle that. I honestly let it slip. When the IRS extended taxes by a month, I decided I needed to do taxes for real this weekend and noticed again that she had about $7,000 more from this same PayPal address. Its name is like Fitness Executives Limited, so didn't raise any flags, but I also noticed her paychecks are being deposited to out checking account. I asked her if she had the pay stubs from the PayPal payments and she got insanely defensive and basically said it was none of my business where her money is coming from. I tried to calmly tell her that it is my business and we need to report 10K in income or we are going to be in serious trouble. She accused me of always being a controlling a hole, with her reaction going from 0-500 malif in 1 second. I decided now was not THR time to talk about it. She took our daughter to her mom's house and told me she'd be back when I wasn't being such in a hole. She wasn't home at like 10, so I called her mom to see if she was there. Her mom said she told her we'd had a fight and she was checking into a hotel room and Kyler was spending the night there. I asked her if she knew what was going on and if I needed to come pick up Kyler. Her mom said no, but wife was in near hysterics saying that she'd never messed up this bad, but Kyler was asleep and fine. So I called my wife but her phone was off, so tried to chill as best I could. At like 6 a.m. she came indoor and said we really need to talk. She confessed stuff I never went to repeat, but the short version of the story is that one of her regulars in the online fitness class is a well-off widower and my wife reminds him of his wife. They started off staying in the fitness room talking, but slowly he started hosting private Zoom meetings, not Zoom but just using that since everyone knows what I mean. He started sending her PayPal money for her time, but over the sessions his requests became more and more sexual and the money just kept going up. She says before she even knew what was happening she was basically having video X with him and being paid for it. I feel like my life is shattered. I see her sitting in the next room as I type this and she looks like a stranger. She's begging me to forgive her and says the situation just got away from her. She says she understands this is cheating but it never got physical and she rationalized that was better than being physical. I'm so lost I don't even know what to ask her. What do I tell her? What do I demand of her? Can we go on? I'm so lost I need some way to gather my thoughts. What do you guys think about all the above? The way she was going about it tells me she was never going to tell you and keep this secret. She doesn't regret what she did, she only regrets that you found out. It's up to you on what you want to do, but ask yourself, do you want a wife that is lying to you? Can you cuddle with her at night knowing that this has been going on? She disrespected your trust and insulted your intelligence. I hope you make the right decision and drop her. She cheated on you. She's having X on video with a man, not you. And she was never going to clue you in. Mind you, I am not against X work. However, there are X workers that are married or in relationships. That works because they are open about boundaries in place. Your wife hid this from you. A firm no-go. Second story. My stepdaughter accused my son of sexually harassing her. I destroyed him emotionally and disowned him only to find out she was manipulated by her bio dad. I am in a nightmare of a situation. I lost my wife when my son was 10 years old and my daughter was 16. It was very hard for all of us. My daughter and I were eventually able to move on, but my son wasn't able to fully recover from it despite the therapy. I just made sure that I was always there for him and kept reassuring him that I will always be there for him. I married my wife when my son was 14. My wife has 3 daughters. One is 4 years younger than my son and the other 2 are twins who are 9 years younger than my son. We all get along great as a family with the exception of my wife's oldest daughter, who we will call Jay. She always hated me and my children with a passion that was mostly fueled by her bio father who cheated on her mother. We failed to see it, but he was putting all kind of bullshit in Jay's head and poisoning her against us, like how awful people we are. That her mother was the one who cheated and on the other way around. We had no idea about all this at the time. When my son was 17, Jay came to us and told us some very disturbing things. That my son was sexually abusing her. She told us very detailed accounts about it. I basically lost it when I learned about all this. She stated that she didn't want to involve the police over this because she was very ashamed about this and didn't want people to know about this. What I did next was very cruel, but in my mind it was justified because I thought my son did actually sexually abuse her. My son has my wife's eyes. They are this very unique shade of blue, and my son was into learning the guitar when he was 8. He used to play a lot of guitar when his mother passed away. And I bought him a guitar which was the same color as his eyes. He was very grateful for it, and it's something that he is emotionally attached to. I basically confronted him about it. I was very rough with him and beat him up a little. I then broke the guitar into several pieces while he begged me not to. I also took a necklace he had been given from his mother and all reminders that he had of his mother and kicked him out there and there. When you combine all this with the fact that he still was never to properly move on from his mother's death, I just can't even imagine what he must have been through. About a week ago, we celebrated my stepdaughter's 18th birthday. I was a little bit sad that I never got to celebrate my son's 18, but in my mind there was nothing I could do, but I did get a little bit melancholic. And I was looking at a photo of my son. My stepdaughter noticed this and basically burst into tears and told her that she had lied about it. She told us that her father had been spreading lies in her head and he told her to do this, saying that it would bring her cheating mother back to him. My entire world just crashed and I have not been in the greatest of states. We have gotten Jay into therapy, which she had initially refused when we thought she was telling the truth, and are looking at what kind of legal action we can take against my wife's ex. I just feel like a complete failure of a father. I was supposed to protect my son from these kind of things. I was supposed to guide him and help him at his worst, but I don't even know what to say. I called my daughter the day before yesterday to tell her what had happened, and she said that she knew, and she basically tells me that she didn't believe for a second that my son was capable of what he was accused of, and that she and his boyfriend took him in and paid for his college and everything and were there for him. When I asked her to let me talk to my son, she flat out refused. She says that she doesn't care if my son and I have a relationship or not. She will not sabotage her brother's trust in her because he had said that he never wanted to talk to any of us ever again. I relent, but please ask her to deliver her a message saying that I was extremely sorry for my actions. I also asked her if she could forward a letter to him from her email account, which she said she would consider, and hung up. Please Reddit, can you please help me? I want to be able to have a relationship with my son again, and what would be the best way to approach him without hurting him further. So you beat up your son and threw him out without giving him an opportunity to deny the accusations, but when the stepdaughter admits guilt, she gets counseling and I am assuming remains in the house. I am sure you feel bad. I am sure you feel remorse, but you won't get any relationship back while the stepdaughter is in your life. Third story. Me 28 male with my fiancée 26 female of 7 years. She's on a solo trip and I can't find any evidence she paid for a hotel or plane ticket. Now her CrossFit partner is also gone, but no one knows where. Any possibility they aren't together. Edit, not sure how to flare this. I think I am using relationships because infidelity is not confirmed. Throw away because this has the capability to be very, very embarrassing. I will try to make this as non-meandering as possible, but it goes back about 1.5 years. At that time my fiancé had been together about 5 years and we were both extremely overweight. We were both pretty big on the Haste bandwagon and full on believed that weight loss was not possible. Calories didn't matter, etc. I would say we were happy together, but navigating the outside world was hellish. My wife went to a new doctor who advised her that she needed to cut weight. At that time we used to carry around these little cards put out by a well-known fat activist that we'd present to medical professionals stating the science behind Haste and how we deserved respect as fat people. This doctor crumpled it up, threw it away, and said that my fiancée had a choice to either keep with the bullshit and be in constant pain until she dies, or get serious and lose weight. She started CrossFit and a calorie-reduced diet that very day. I did my absolute best to convince her of all the things we knew about weight loss, but she worked really hard and lost almost 50 pounds in the first 6 months. She pretty much convinced me that all the crap we believed in had been BS, and she really wanted me to start eating right and working out with her, even though she opened my eyes to the reality. I think I am a pretty severe food addict and kept telling myself and her, I'll start tomorrow, I promise, but tomorrow never really came. So a year into this, my fiancée had lost pretty close to 120 pounds, and for the first time since she was in middle school she weighed under 150 and she looked phenomenal. She also was doing better at work. She claims that she had much better mental clarity since she wasn't on sugar highs lows all day. But I do think her improved looks helped her stand out. I'd actually gained 20 pounds over the course of the year and sunk further into depression and food addiction. So maybe 1 year and 3 months into her weight loss, she started hanging out with this guy from her CrossFit gym. I'll call Dr. Bob. Dr. Bob is medical doctor who is probably late 30s, in crazy good shape. Dr. Bob started picking my fiancée up every morning at 6 a.m. for their morning CrossFit, and she'd come back to our apartment every morning with Starbucks that Dr. Bob had bought for her. She started hanging with CrossFit friends on the weekends, and more often than not, Dr. Bob would be the one to drop her off. I told her I was very uncomfortable with her spending so much time with Dr. Bob. At first she was angry that I was controlling. I told her I wasn't asking her to do anything, but just relaying my feelings. We had a tense couple of days over this, but in the end she came to me and said she was sorry. She promised nothing was going on between she and Dr. Bob, but she also said she had to admit that she would be terribly uncomfortable if I had a female friend that I was spending so much time with. At this point, I started going to food addiction treatment, and although it's fits and starts, it's going well. However, about 6 weeks ago my fiancée revealed to me that she was losing attraction for me. She said she needed some time and she was going to take a 2-week trip to a resort in Jamaica to clear her head. I said that was fine and I encouraged her to do so. I need to say here that both me and my fiancée have terrible credit, but I was able to get a card and put her on as an authorized user. To build up our credit, we put literally every expense on this card and then pay it off every month. A not intentional side effect of this is I get to see what she spends her money on. I told her very clearly that she could put the trip on this card since she had savings to pay the balance. She agreed. The first big red mark on this trip is that there has never been a single thing regarding this trip to show up on our statements or online activity. In my head I figured that maybe she'd taken cash out of her savings and paid for the ticket in person, and maybe she'd just used my card for a hold on the hotel and she planned on paying cash when she got there. It made the most sense at the time. Well, she left Saturday. I had been planning that when she was gone, I would start CrossFit to go with my food addiction treatment. I went on Sunday to her gym. People knew who I was and were very friendly. I had expected to see Dr. Bob there since I knew he always went on Sundays. I had to really get myself together because I wasn't sure how it would go. I planned on presenting myself as a friend of your friend, and I would like to get to know you, no confrontation whatsoever. So after I flailed through the workout, I asked one person I sort of knew, hey, doesn't Dr. Bob usually come on Sundays? She told me that yes, he was always there, but that Dr. Bob is on a secret vacation and it's the talk of the gym because no one really knew where he was going. My heart sunk and I sort of said, is it Jamaica? She sort of chuckled, no. He said very specifically he wasn't going to Jamaica. But did your fiancée get there? I know she was heading out. This didn't do much to help my fears. I don't think anyone at the gym knew what was going on or were keeping anything from me. But this is strike 2. So I obviously think she and Dr. Bob are together. So I'll get to strike 3. Ever since starting CrossFit, my fiancée has been crazy documenting her weight loss on Instagram. And as she's lost weight, she's posted more and more. She posts from the gym. She posts from her drive to work. She posts before-after pictures. She posts stories multiple times a day. I expected of all the times to keep her Instagram updated. Her trip to Jamaica would be ideal. It's been utterly silent, and the last post was when she was curling her hair to get ready for the Uber to take her to the airport. So I am almost sure I know what's going on. Dr. Bob paid for this trip, and they are together. The utter lack of charges for the trip, Dr. Bob being gone on a mystery vacation, and the radio silence on Instagram are way too much to be coincidences. I've tried to call my fiancée and she answered and said she was having a great time so far and she was excited to hear from me, and nothing in her voice indicated that she was hiding anything, but again, there are just too many things stacked against this. I have no idea what to do. We are 2 days into a 14-day trip and I don't want to ruin her solo trip by accusing her of cheating on the chance that everything is on the up and up. But at the same time, my heart is breaking. I can't sleep. I am just a wreck because I am 90% sure they are together. What can I do? Too long didn't read. My fiancée is supposedly on a solo trip to Jamaica. There are 3 huge things that make me think she's with her friend from CrossFit. 1, there's no evidence she paid for trip 2. Her CrossFit friend is on a mystery vacation and didn't tell anyone where. 3, her Instagram has gone from 5 posts a day to complete silence. What can I do? Edit. So someone who asked to be remain nameless in PM suggested I text her and say, hey, hope all is going well. I did CrossFit yesterday and ran into Dr. Bob, says to tell you hello. So I did exactly that and waited for maybe 15 minutes and she texted back, I don't think it was Dr. Bob because you're not gonna believe this, but I actually ran into Dr. Bob here in Jamaica. Life is so random sometimes. He's staying across the property, so I don't expect to see him that much. So please don't worry, having a great time. I'm really ducking sad. What you can do, funnel all this energy into working on your health. Whether she is or isn't with him. She's gone for another 12 days and you're going to stress yourself out worrying. Use all that energy. By the way, many places in Jamaica that aren't big names, you have to book pretty far in advance and pay a large deposit. Then the rest a month before you go. If nothing has been charged, someone else might be footing the bill. You do not pay when you leave, except for any extras like laundry. Hit like if you enjoyed this video. Consider subscribing to our channel.